Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I am glad you are here. Real quickly, I want to say thank you to the channel members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to anyone who subscribes to the channel or anyone who just comes in and watches content and enjoys it. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here. Today is kind of an interesting review. I did an unboxing a couple of weeks ago. This is my first experience. There's a caveat to this, but this is my first experience with an Axial Gear out the front knife. I kind of came to the out the front game a little late. The first out the front that I became attracted to was this EMP EDC OG out the front. It was one that kind of opened my eyes to them. I was never a big fan of Microtech. It just wasn't necessarily my thing. Well, Axial has come along and they started, I don't know if it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago. When I first got into the community, Kevin, Lefty EDC, was reviewing Axial knives and talking about them. They're made here in the US. They make not only out the fronts, they make fixed blades now as well. I did a review on the Alpine, which is a fantastic knife. But Axial Gear, the first time I experienced one of their out the fronts was when I was checking out my buddy, A to Z EDC. He's, you guys give him a follow on Instagram. He lets me check out a lot of his knives. And one of the ones he had was the USA made Pulse OTF by EMP EDC. My buddies John and Jamie. So anyway, I reviewed that knife and it was OEM'd by Axial. Well, lately, let's just kind of step this off. I've been seeing Axial promoting their Alpine fixed blade. This just happens to be the raw titanium. This comes with a lot of different handle configurations and a lot of different blade types. You've got a drop point, TANTO, or this WHARNCLIFFE. Made in America, MAGNACUT, fantastic EDC knife, which I think is its own home run. So when I saw that they were going to do the Gen 3 Shift, I think it is. I could be wrong. I think it's the Axial Shift Gen 3. I'll leave a link down below where you guys can check it out. But in either case, I reached out and asked them if I could check one out. And they were nice enough to send this for me to check out and share with you guys. So I've been carrying it for a while. This knife comes in four different blades. I wanted to get the TANTO. I don't know why. I think it's because I've got kind of a WHARNCLIFFE in my EMP, and then I've got a drop point kinda in my Max Ace. I like the WHARNCLIFFE. They offer this in a WHARNCLIFFE. They offer it in a drop point, and they offer it in a double-sided dagger. So really, anything you want, you can get. It is a very stable knife. There is very little side to side. There is very little up and down. There's absolutely no rattle in the knife. The pocket clip. The pocket clip works amazingly well. I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, but I'm assuming it's a titanium clip. Maybe aluminum. I don't know how that would work, but it's got a very relaxed feel, but it holds really well in your pants. Deep carry, no glass breaker. Not only that, you have no screw. You don't have shit back here except just a nice little knife. Nice knife. I've really enjoyed it, and the clip is reversible. You've got this little inlay here that you can take this little inset out, swap it over here, swap your clip. Why wouldn't it be? It's truly an ambidextrous knife, right? So this one is in MAGNACUT. You can get these knives And they come in and out of stock. So you can get these knives in MAGNACUT. List price off their website, this knife in MAGNACUT is $229 for a USA made MAGNACUT. I want to say 63, 64 on the blades, but that's the MAGNACUT. So I backstepped. The S35VN is $219. The CRUWEAR, which is not this knife, is $229, and the MAGNACUT is $229 in any variation that you want. Now, they have this Gen 3 Shift with a G10, kind of like a inlay on the side, so it's a little bit more expensive. It's not out of the park, but I kind of like the flat aluminum. That's kind of more my jam. And this knife is just, I don't know if it's a combination of the size, because we're going to look at this in comparison with some others. So when I hold this knife in a serious cutting grip, i.e. cutting through cat food, you know, slicing some cardboard, whatever the case may be, it's very comfortable. It's not a perfect rectangle. I guess none of mine are really perfect rectangles, but this has a little bit of swerve on the underside here. And then it's got this little kick here. It does the same on top. And I don't know if it's just because I think it feels good, it's light, or if that's something to it. But it does have, you can notice it's not an exact rectangle. Let's get some paper, because it is a out the front, so you're going to have a thicker grind here. Your flat starts right here, so you've got probably a 3/4 flat. I'm guessing the WHARNCLIFFE, this and the drop point probably are about the same slices. This is the factory edge, by the way. I thought about taking this to about 19.5, but I don't think I'm going to mess with it, because it is so slicey, bitey, even on that top point. I don't know if you can see that. Just kind of showing the bite of that front point. But though I love the way it's got a little bit of taper here, it seems to be a fantastic piercer. I think I've got some cardboard here, because I've been jamming it through some cardboard because I'm a weirdo. Let's do this. Let's take this little box that came from my buddy Joe Isabella, who I love with all my heart, who is a killer member of the community, who makes some of the coolest jank. But that's just, he does a ton of stuff. So anyway, this guy, it does not have any resistance when it pierces. And I think that's a combination of the way that tip's designed. But to me, personally, as a Slurpee saver, which in OTF, let's face it guys, I've got knives that cut stuff. If I need to get super slicey, I can pull out my Lookout, for example, that I carry in my back pocket. This is a great out the front knife. My only made in America out the front knife. Very slicey, built very well, right here in the States. I'm a big fan. I wanted to show you guys a couple of quick size comparisons. Then we'll get a couple of dimensions and we'll get out of here. So Benchmade bug out, I'm going to give it 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to say it's about 1/4 of an inch bigger than the bug out. So I don't see anything else right around here. Let's look at it next to the Lookout. It's about an inch longer than the Lookout. While I've got my EMP EDC pulse out the front, one thing I noticed about the USA made EMP EDC is it was just a hair longer. So it's right in the same size range as the pulses, and it's going to be smaller, I'm sure, than this big ass Max Ace Neptune, which has this little skull thing. It can come off, but then you have to put a flat screw on it. This one's not bad. EMP EDC doesn't do it either. I didn't give them enough credit. Another reason I like this knife. And then I've got my little manual out the front, my Riot XO-M, which is the medium size. And so it's right around the size of the XO-M, which means it'll be smaller than the XO, and it will be a great deal bigger than the Mini. So, lastly, we're going to get some dimensions. We're working with 0.1230 MAGNACUT stock. Behind the edge, 0.0240. The handle's pretty slim, 0.46. The height, 0.96, so less than an inch high, less than a ½ inch thick. Now let's get our Javon promotional tape measure. And of course there'll be specs on the site. All right, this is where I get jacked up. It's bigger, it's halfway between 7 3/4 and 8 inches. So there's a 1/16 on each side. What would that be, 5/8? I don't know. So it's over 7 3/4, right under 8. I need to learn those measurements. 3 1/8 on the blade with a 3 1/4 inch cutting edge if you take both sides. The handle length is going to be right under 4 3/4. So that's the little long line between 4 1/2 and 5. I go up here and measure it here and just call it 4 3/4. And then lastly, let's see what the carry weight is on it. Aluminum handle, MAGNACUT blade, 3 1/4 inch blade. So right at 4 ounces. I'm not mad at that at all. You know, it's a little bigger than the inch an ounce, or what is it? Yeah, an inch per ounce. I don't know where that came from. To be honest with you, I don't even know where I heard that. I don't even know if that's true. I shouldn't probably repeat stuff if I'm trying in all transparency. At least I'm telling you I have no idea if there's any validity to the ideal ounce per inch. Anyway, guys, this is the Axial Gear, Axial Knives, Axial USA Shift. This is the TANTO in MAGNACUT, Gen 3, super smooth, super snappy. You've got 4 blade shapes that you can choose from. It all goes to one link. I'm just going to link the home page, because when you get to the home page, you'll see this version starting at $219 is what it says on this page. And this is the plain aluminum. Then to the right of this on the page, you'll see one that looks just like it. Same variations, except it's got the G10 inlays in different configurations. I forget what they start out, $10, $15 more. But the reason it says starting at $219, when you get into the shift page, if you're looking at them, that's where you select your blade type to see what's available. And you can look at the 3 steels that are offered. And if you toggle from the S35VN to the MAGNACUT, that's when you go from $219 to $229. So $229 for this knife, which for me, made in the USA, very well done, smooth, you know, I can't close OTFs with my thumb because it's too short. I have to kind of go up there and side thumb it, but it works very well. I'm a fan, guys. I think Axial Gear, Axial Knives, Axial USA is doing a great job. It's kind of ironic that this is what excited me so much and really got me in touch with them. And now that I've experienced this knife, which again comes after I picked up this guy a couple of years ago and said, well, that's kind of cool. And then because of all the hype, when this one came out in a locking version, I picked it up. I think of it as an out the front too, because you can't really fidget with it outside of that. And, you know, picked up a couple of others after that. So this is definitely a win. This is my only USA made out the front. Add to my automatic knives and add to my cat food slaying, Amazon opening, Slurpee saver out the front pocket knife. Guys, I appreciate y'all. If you're interested in this, of course, check the local laws in your state, your jurisdiction. I happen to live in Alabama where these are legal to carry, but make sure you check that. That is one of the things about automatics and out the fronts and some other weird knives. That's why Knife Rights, I shouldn't ramble, is such a good deal to get involved with. I think a membership to Knife Rights, and I think if nothing else, go to the Apple Store or the Google Store and download the Knife Rights app, because you can put in your state. You can also do this on the website. It'll tell you what's legal, what's not legal, what's kind of gray area. It's a great resource, and they do all the lobbying and fighting for Knife Rights. That's why when you hear about things getting turned over in your state, or now you can carry automatics where you couldn't, if you go research how that happened, you'll see Knife Rights was involved in those discussions and those depositions, testimony, and the overall result. Guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll also link Knife Rights down there. But I do love each and every one of you. All I ask is please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart and choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.